So, a ton of businesses are playing around with AI. But let's be honest, very few are seeing those game-changing, transformative results. What's the secret sauce? What separates the dabblers from the true innovators? Well, in this explainer, we're going to break down the brand new playbook for driving real, strategic value with AI by 2026.
You know, this quote from PwC really just nails the problem, doesn't it? It feels amazing when hundreds of your employees are trying out new AI tools. Your adoption numbers look incredible, but is it actually moving the needle for the business? More often than not, the answer is a big fat no.
And that's the billion-dollar question, right? How do you get past that first wave of excitement and all those isolated little projects to achieve something that fundamentally changes how your business runs and grows? That's exactly what this playbook is all about.
Okay, so first things first, we've got to wrap our heads around the core issue here. We're calling it AI's value problem. And it turns out those small early wins you might be seeing, they can actually be a bit of a trap.
Look, a lot of companies are getting a measurable return on their AI spend. A little efficiency boost over here, a bit more capacity over there, and those gains are real. They might even pay for the projects themselves. But here's the catch. A bunch of scattered wins does not add up to transformation. In fact, it can hide the deeper challenges and stop you from making the big strategic moves that really count.
So what's the solution? It's a new, disciplined playbook. And the great thing is, we don't have to guess what it is anymore. The AI frontrunners are starting to pull away from the pack, and we can see exactly how they're doing it. And wow, the difference is just night and day. The old way, that bottoms-up approach, it leads to all these crowdsourced ideas and random bets popping up all over the company. You get a lot of noise, a lot of activity, but it's almost never aligned with what the business actually needs to accomplish. The new way is the exact opposite. It's a top-down, enterprise-wide program where leadership deliberately picks a few key spots for focused investment. It is a disciplined march towards value, not just a random walk in the park.
So, what does this playbook actually look like? Well, it's surprisingly simple, really. Step 1. Leadership has to own this. They pick a few critical spots where the business has to win, and where you've got the right data and talent ready to go. Step 2. You go narrow and deep. Forget just trimming a few steps off an old process. The goal here is wholesale transformation of an entire workflow. You don't ask how AI can help your old process, you ask how it can build you a brand new, better one. And finally, step 3. You send in your A-team. You put your best people on this, your top business leaders, to push it forward and make sure it delivers.
And if you want to see the power of that go narrow and deep approach, just look at this. A global bank working with Deloitte didn't just pass out a few AI coding assistants. Nope, they focused on transforming their entire software development lifecycle. And the result? After just an 8-week pilot, a staggering 53% productivity improvement. That's not a small gain. That is a total transformation of how they build things.
Right, but look, this playbook, it's not just about the tech. The next piece of the puzzle is huge. It's your people. Because a focused AI strategy doesn't just change your processes, it fundamentally changes your workforce and even the very shape of your organization.
And this is creating a brand new, critical role, the AI generalist. Now, this isn't some superhero who can do everything. It's someone who understands a whole workflow well enough to manage and orchestrate a team of specialized AI agents. Their job isn't about doing one narrow task anymore. It's about overseeing the whole show and focusing on the final business outcome. Think of a software engineer who isn't just writing Python code all day, but is now orchestrating AI agents that handle the architecture, the testing, and the documentation for the whole project. Game changer. Now, the rise of these AI generalists is having this really dramatic impact on how companies are structured. For like 100 years, most companies have been built like a classic pyramid.
But that model is starting to crumble. And in its place, we're seeing two new shapes emerge. For businesses that are heavy on frontline task work, you get the diamond shape. AI takes over a lot of the entry-level roles, so you need a bigger middle layer of managers to orchestrate all those AI agents. But for knowledge work, it's the hourglass. Here, AI handles all the routine, specialized tasks, which actually shrinks the middle, letting you beef up your junior and senior talent for maximum impact.
Okay, so you've got the strategy, you've got the people, but none of that works at scale if you don't have the right engine to power it all. And that brings us to the final piece of the playbook, building that core technology and governance foundation.
A huge piece of this foundation is something called an orchestration layer. The best way to think about it is like a central command center for all your AI. It's one unified platform that lets you manage, monitor, and even combine AI tools from different vendors into a single seamless workflow. And most importantly, it puts you in charge of your AI strategy instead of just letting 100 different tools run wild across the company.
And right alongside that tech, you need governance. Responsible AI, or RAI, is so much more than a buzzword. It's an absolutely critical framework for scaling AI safely. It's about embedding human oversight, accountability, and transparency directly into your AI systems so you can manage your risk and build that essential trust with your employees, your customers, and even regulators.
And look, if you're thinking, is this really necessary? Just think about the risks of not doing it. Without proper governance, you are opening the floodgates to massive problems. We're talking about autonomous AI systems causing cascading errors that can spread across your company in seconds. We're talking about huge accountability gaps where nobody knows who or what is responsible when things go wrong. You can end up with insecure, unmaintainable code that becomes a giant liability. This isn't just about best practices anymore. This is about survival.
So let's pull all this together. The massive shift that we're talking about here is really a move away from just experimenting for the sake of it and towards a relentless, disciplined focus on creating value.
I absolutely love this term vibe work. It perfectly captures that initial, exciting phase of AI where anybody could just play around with a new tool. That era was fun, it was important, but it's ending. The future doesn't belong to the companies with the most vibes. It belongs to the ones that can take all that energy, discipline it, orchestrate it, and turn it into real, measurable, strategic value.
This right here, this is what the future of AI in business really looks like. Orchestration puts you back in the driver's seat. It's how you spot the ideas that are actually valuable, it's how you manage all the risks that come with AI, and it's how you make sure every single AI project is pulling in the same direction, aligned with your biggest priorities.
So the question I want to leave you with is this. When you really look at your company's approach to AI, your strategy, your people, your technology, ask yourself, are you still built for vibe or are you truly building for value?